It's not that you need to take the easy path for accessibility, is that you need to make the connection with the people that are going to use your services or products that in order for you to improve and provide a better option. That's what working accessibility means, that how you include the feedback from your community, for all the community that can make you improve and adapt what you're offering so that it's useful for everyone.
Hey everyone, welcome into the first ever episode of the Lazarillo podcast, a show where we interview people working to increase accessibility around the world. My name is Sam, and today I'll be joined by René Espinoza, the co-founder and CEO of Lazarillo. We have a great conversation about René's journey, talking about how he discovered his passion for assistive technology and how he now runs a company that's working to increase accessibility for people with disabilities everywhere. We'll also discuss some of the projects that Lazarillo is working on right now and some of the things that René has learned over the years about fighting for accessibility. Enjoy the show. All right, so René, welcome in. It's a new year and the first episode of the Lazarillo podcast. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, excited about this new year. So yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. All right, so I want to start off just at the beginning. So tell me a little bit about your personal and professional journey to where you are now. How did you become interested in accessibility and where did the idea for Lazarillo come from?
Sure. Well, I started working in accessibility because I always wanted to work in well-being and health, incentivized because of kind of like at the loss of a family member in an early age. And that led me to work in technology. I wanted to create technology that can help people either on their well-being or health situation. And that led me to work in a medical institution and during college. So I worked doing assisted technologies, but were low-cost assisted technologies. So let's say something that would cost normally $500, we will reduce that to $10 or $15, something so that is affordable for people. And during that time, I worked with neurologists, physicians, and people that either has a disease like Parkinson's disease or a disability or a reduced mobility. So during that time, I also worked in a project where my first mobile app needed to be accessible for blind people. So I was able to work with a team that involved blind people, blind professors on assistive technologies, and so that kind of opened up the possibilities of what was possible in that time, and so that led for me to decide to do a thesis with the help of one professor. His name is Miguel, currently part of the team. So that's how we started Lazarillo, right? One thing led to another, and we can talk deep about that afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, when you and Miguel first started on the project, I mean, what was, the initial idea that you had of like, okay, this is what we need to do? And then tell me a little bit about how that beginning stage of Lazarillo was for you guys.
Yeah, so kind of like what happened was that then we say, okay, how we can work on improving independence in complex places such as a subway station, a hospital, a shopping mall, things like that. And we kind of started from that base where Miguel currently told me how he would navigate those places and the main difficulties that he would have, and also he would also provide other perspectives because he was, as a professor, he were able to work with people with low vision as well. So on that time was kind of like, let's try to do something where we can provide additional information to the user that he can complement his cane or guide dog in order to understand what's around him, for example, or even what are the things that he could do in that specific place, right? So that's how it started. And it started with a base prototype where an app will announce places inside an indoor space. And that was kind of like the first prototype of Lazarillo that afterwards it evolved.
Gotcha. So really from the beginning, the process of creating Lazarillo was always driven by the community. I mean, you were working with people with disabilities to test your prototype, like from the very beginning.
Yeah, definitely from the very beginning, and kind of like has been like that always. And then it has been led by the community also, like the things we do, the feedback that we receive, and even the new features. We want to be as fast as we can, but sometimes not so easy, right? But then it kind of was easy to follow the user feedback rather than say, okay, I can imagine that this could work, but but when you follow the feedback and the users itself, is kind of like easier. And that's why Miguel was kind of part of the team from the very beginning, and he's currently is the kind of like the UX leader for accessibility, so that kind of like the new functionalities, the new things that we're implementing, he can test it out and kind of like use it in a daily basis, as well as other uses that we have globally, right?
Are customers getting lost or overwhelmed trying to navigate your business? Let Lazarillo help. Lazarillo provides all the tools that you need to empower your customers to navigate more easily and independently. From interactive digital maps to simple and accessible kiosk displays to turn-by-turn directions with audible guidance on an intuitive mobile interface, Lazarillo makes navigation for your customers easy so that you can focus on running your business. Check out our website at lazarillo.app/business if you want to learn more. So starting from that initial stage where you had a prototype, you started working on a possible solution, to now, years later, where we have a fully functioning app and platform. I'd talk a little bit about how that technology has evolved over time, and then where we are now. What does Lazarillo look like today?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited how Lazarillo looks like today, because it kind of like it doubled down on accessibility and also expand for people that anyone can use our solutions. In terms of the app, has evolved to more countries, as well as adding key functionalities, and being able to provide that for free is kind of like not an easy task, but it's something that we believe is the right path, because we believe that independence kind of like should be for everyone, not transactional. And then the platform, I'm really excited because maybe the platform is not so well known by our community, but it's kind of what allow us to map complex places. This can be, as I was mentioning, like from a subway station to a shopping mall, to a hospital, to city parks. So any place that could be maybe an outdoor complex or an indoor space can be mapped, and we can add layers of information. And now that information is connected directly with Lazarillo, so that you can get audible guides, but also it can be connected to our customers app, so that they can also create other experiences, either showing the map, that is also a visual map with information on accessible routes, accessible entrances for wheelchair users, and even content can be added, and to create better experience. And so now we're in the process of integrating these maps to our customers' websites, mobile apps, as well as it works in parallel with Lazarillo app. So being able to scale like this, I think the key part has been working with our users and also with our customers, that are the companies that invest in accessibility, but also customer experience in general.
So really, Lazarillo has gone from this kind of singular solution to a solution that works for lots of different types of people and in a lot of different contexts, whether it's a business or just personal use. What are some examples, if you have any examples that you could give, of how Lazarillo is being used in those different contexts right now?
For sure, yeah. So let's say we have implementations in malls, right? Where inside a complex mall, like a huge mall, you can use Lazarillo to find your store or to find products, and that same map empowers the mobile app of the mall, right? So that people can also find like the visual path to their stores or products they're looking for. So that is something that we're doing, as well as another example is with the city of Tampa, where we're mapping the city park, and we add all the amenities like the restrooms. They have shelters where people can do barbecues, and you need to book them, and kind of like we're mapping those so that it's easy for you to book them in the website of the city, as well as they have like a convention center. They have places where you can take your dog, right? And all those things are now being mapped so that if you are there, you on one side you can go from your home to that park, for example, but then once you're there, you can search for the nearby restroom or get a path to let's say the dog park, right? So the dog park, and the Lazarillo will guide you with detail, and that path was not available in any kind of like open map, right? So if you were opening the app before this implementation, the app will like kind of give you not so much information, and even in not only our app but any other map app will not be accurate. After we map it, now we have all the information, and now the city can improve on that. They can create events and kind of like add that information too. And the same thing with the public buildings that we're doing with the city of Tampa, kind of like open up the possibilities for people to just go there independently and use it in conjunction with, let's say, the paratransit system, so that you know where is the drop-off area, right? So you're using the paratransit system, you kind of like you can know that ahead of time. Sometimes that is a challenge, either for the drivers of that system, right? And so now we have mapped those things. So we're kind of creating that information easy to access for this community, but also like the people around them, right? And anyone in them kind of like in that park can also use the map, right? So it's kind of how we expect this to evolve and to do more like kind of smart city projects. And that are like key examples, for example. Yeah.
So in addition to the city of Tampa, another city that Lazarillo has worked with just in the past year is the city of Detroit. Now, I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about the project that you've been doing in Detroit and how that's going.
Yeah, sure, Sam. So, well, that project has been, I mean, really great in terms of that it's kind of like the first city where we have been now working on integrating the different transportation options that they offer. So all the bus options, the tram, and also we're now looking to incorporate what is called the people mover. That is kind of like they have stations that people can use, and is to navigate around downtown Detroit. So it's a project that now in the app you can also get the times when the next bus is arriving to your bus stop, and also how to get to all the different options, and kind of like that is something really new we're doing, and we hope that could expand to more cities. And also working on adding information on stores, restaurants, and things like that. So sometimes people don't think about that the menu, right? It needs to be accessible, the menu of a restaurant. So in this case, we are digitalizing that menu so that it can work with a screen reader inside the Lazarillo app on the profile of that specific restaurant, right? This kind of like, we're working to create this proof of concept so that eventually we can expand this in a way, collaborating with multiple business working accessibility, and kind of like create a footprint where we can improve neighborhoods as well as transportation. So that's also an amazing project, and we're looking for testers.
Hey guys, just a quick note. If you're interested in becoming a beta tester for our project in Detroit, we still have some spots open and we would love to have you. If you're interested, you can reach out to us over email at hello@lazarillo.app or fill out the form that I'll link in the description. If you want to learn more about the Detroit project, you can visit our website at lazarillo.app/Detroit. I'm curious, you're talking just a second ago about smart cities and this idea of improving accessibility in cities so that more people can have access to these spaces. What do you think that this type of technology, specifically like something like what we're doing with the city of Tampa, could mean for cities, everywhere going into the future? What is this look like in the sense of how could this benefit people, not only in Tampa, but in Los Angeles, New York, even overseas, London, things like that. I'm curious where you kind of see this technology headed.
Yeah. So the way that we like our vision is that eventually anywhere and anyone can, from the city, for example, the technical team from the city, the ADA department, for example, can either use our technology or work with a local partner to implement their projects on accessibility. So if they're managing parks, they're managing maybe transportation hubs, could be like from a subway station to a tram station, things like that. You can kind of like have a new tool to add layers of accessibility so that people can have better access to use them. So that's the way I think it should evolve, where where maybe a small project can get into and incorporate accessibility easily, but also a huge project, right? Like where they're doing maybe multiple stations or they have multiple parks and they need to map them. But currently, kind of like the mapping technology was not indirect, like used for accessibility measures too. So now they can use it, and kind of like that is how we see this can evolve. Eventually, we're currently doing breaks in more than 5 countries. So I think soon this is going to scale fast. And the only way to scale fast is that the community and people pushing accessibility forward is going to be like using these additional tools to kind of like create their own things, right?
So I want to backtrack a little bit because we're talking about, Lazarillo as an accessibility tool, how people with disabilities can use Lazarillo to navigate. But a minute ago, you were also talking about, for example, the use of Lazarillo in shopping malls, where someone can walk into a shopping mall and have an interactive digital map of that space just on their phone. And that seems like a technology that can really be used by anyone. I'm curious if you could talk a little bit more about how it could be used in a setting like that, like a shopping mall or a hospital, where someone could open up Lazarillo and be able to use that as a map to navigate that space.
Yeah. So kind of like the ability to customize your mapping experience and kind of like how your detailed information interact with your physical information is kind of like the possibilities that we're creating. So for someone that is using this map, it can be from the mall app or either from a QR code. And we kind of like facilitate the possibilities to do that map easily and get that map updated so that if you're looking for a product in that mall, you can easily find it. And also not find only one product, but in which stores, let's say if you're looking for shoes, which are the stores that offer shoes, right? Maybe shoes, you maybe are looking for a specific type, right? And which are the stores in that mall that can offer you that, so you can kind of like be more efficient of what you're looking for, but also kind of like open up for other stores that you never thought they will sell the thing you're looking for, right? Sometimes we always go to the same stores just because we don't know what is the offer, and kind of like this open up additional information and kind of create a better experience for the customers, as well as giving more opportunities to all the stores in the mall to kind of get to a new target audience that we're all getting used to search in multiple ways. And so now we're digitalizing this information, so search is easier, right?
Did you know that Lazarillo has a fully accessible and completely free mobile app designed to help people with disabilities navigate their surroundings more independently? With the Lazarillo app, you can explore accessibly with detailed audio descriptions of your surroundings and turn-by-turn wayfinding in a super intuitive and accessible mobile interface. Over 250,000 people around the world are already using the Lazarillo app to navigate, and you can too. If you want to learn more, you can check out our website at lazarillo.app or download Lazarillo for free right now on Google Play and the App Store. Yeah, so I mean, I know when I walk into a mall and I walk up to like a large mall kiosk, which is all the names of all the stores, even though it has all that information, it can be such a headache to figure out exactly where I'm trying to go. Sometimes I know what I need. Sometimes you're just looking for a product and you don't even know where to start. And so what you're saying is that I could open up Lazarillo or just go up to like a mall kiosk that's integrated with Lazarillo. And it's not only a map that's showing you this information, but it's interactive. So you can type in what you're looking for, select a store, and then from there, find exactly what you need with this interactive technology. And then someone with disabilities could even get a turn-by-turn guidance from where they are to that store with the Lazarillo app. So it's really, there's all of these integrations happening just in one platform. I think that's so exciting.
Yeah, me too. And what is exciting about is that we are able to allow the in this case the model create multiple experiences. So they can have one experience in their app, but maybe they can come another app and create another experience. At the same time, our app that is for kind of like enhanced navigation with audio creates another experience. So that is kind of like what excites me about where eventually different communities are looking for different experiences. And so now we are kind of like allow that to happen. And yeah, that's great.
Awesome. So, we're launching this podcast, the Lazarillo podcast, really as a way of engaging with the community of people that we work with every day, the community of people that are working in accessibility. And we want to highlight these people that are pushing society forward and helping to improve accessibility for everyone. So I just want to talk a little bit about accessibility and your experience as someone working in accessibility. So first off, as the CEO of Lazarillo, you're not only a founder of a company, but you're also an employer. And I'm curious, what are the things that you do to take what you've learned about inclusivity and accessibility and incorporate that into your own company and the workplace that we have here at Lazarillo?
Yeah. So I think that the team is really important. The team needs to be diverse, right? So in that way, we have been making all the necessary adaptations and also work with our team members on what they need, right? So let's say when we're using a CRM, right? Like kind of like it's a standard tool. And sometimes some of those might not be as accessible as we want, but we can find together like options to use that specific tool or even evaluate other options that could be more accessible. So in a way, it's kind of like working together so that the person can do their job efficiently. And also kind of like, for example, where we have people working in marketing as well as sales, as well as even as I was mentioning, the experience of users. This involves using software, right? When we provide customer support, we sometimes are using a specific software that if that software is not accessible for the user, in this case, for the team member, it can not do their job. So we don't want that, right? And so what we do is that we evaluate the software if that is correct, or even sometimes we provide example how to use it with a screen reader, or if the person is using a magnification or color contrast, we kind of like the team supports them to do that. And if there's a specific thing that cannot be done, you have your team members that can support you in a way. And so we kind of like, okay, evaluate what are the things that can be blocking and kind of get an alternative or either change the way we're doing it, right? So that I think that's kind of like what's most important for companies. Sometimes companies are scared to hire people with disabilities just because they think they need to do huge changes. Sometimes it's not like that. Most of the time it's not like that. I would say maybe always it's not like that. It's just that you need to adequate some things. You need to work with the person and make it work, right? Because the skill set that you're bringing on is because you hire that person because what you saw that person can bring to the table. So if a software is not allowing that, you need to fix that, right? I think that's kind of like the only and one of a really important job that as a CEO I need to do, as well as empower the team to be able to say, okay, this new tool that we are incorporating is not accessible for me, but okay, let's find a way that you could use it. Now there's all these tools have APIs and things like that. You can even create like a layer on top of it, maybe, right? If you're able. So yeah, that's the thing, is to have the willingness to improve as a team.
Yeah. So just talking about that, it's clear that, that's something you have to learn over time as someone who's running a company and working with employees is, okay, how do I adapt to the needs of those employees? I'm curious what, if any, other lessons you've learned working in accessibility from when you started to now, things that you've learned about either how to operate in the accessibility space as a business, working with companies, trying to convince people that greater accessibility is worthwhile. I'm just curious if you have any lessons that you've learned over your time at Lazarillo about that.
Yeah, there's a lot. One of the main lessons is that there's a lot of fear, and in terms of for companies, they have fear of like saying they're more accessible or like pushing forward sometimes accessibility because they think that it could be a potential risk. If we're inviting people with disabilities to our facility, it could be a potential risk. And why they say that is because they feel like there could be some like physical barriers that are there, but if you are not able to work on that, like you are not allowing people to use it. So it's not like you cannot use my, let's say, business infrastructure, right? Like if you're a mall or something like that, or even if you are like a subway station, right? People is going to use it, whether or not they have disability. So it's weird that sometimes companies have that fear. And what we have done is that we kind of like working with them to show them that there's no, like the fear is not allowing you to improve, right? It's not allowing you to get the feedback from this community. It's not allowing you to expand like your service, right? And that fear, maybe for now you're safe, but in the future it could destroy your brand, destroy your company in a way. Especially in the US, where like accessibility is a regulation, right? Like you need to improve it. We have seen that a lot of companies have been sued because not improving accessibility. And it's not that you need to take the easy path for accessibility, it's that you need to make the connection with the people that are going to use your services or products that in order for you to improve and provide a better option. That's what working accessibility means, that how you include the feedback from your community, for all the community that can make you improve and adapt what you're offering so that it's useful for everyone, right? Sounds simple, but that's what I have learned. And that is something we incorporate in our projects. We don't believe that we are the perfect solution. We actually believe we need to improve a lot. That's why we work every day, improving our technology, improving our solutions, getting feedback. And that's the only way to move forward without fear. And I think that's what differentiates Lazarillo from kind of like any other tech company. We are a tech company that wants to continue improve and getting all users' feedback so that we can create a better world that is accessible for everyone.
Yeah. So 2023, it's a new year. Before we wrap up, I'm curious if you have any message for other people working in accessibility this year, people can take home and just think about as we head into the new year.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like accessibility in a way also has a huge field for to kind of like when you're working in accessibility, you kind of like open it up either a service or products for more people, right? But also it's a challenging space. Sometimes companies are not so into investing in accessibility or don't fully understand how they can take the steps or the first step. So it's a challenging, I would say, space, but it can also create a huge impact. So I think I will recommend to iterate, get feedback from people, from users, from clients, so that you can adapt better. And yeah, that's my message.
Perfect. Well, René, thanks for joining us today. And I hope you have a great year. And I'm looking forward to everything that we can accomplish this year. Really excited.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you so much, Sam. And looking forward to hearing more of our user feedback. And yeah, enjoy and comment in the podcast, please.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today on the first ever episode of the Lazarillo podcast. If you're interested in learning more about what Lazarillo can offer you or your business, you can always check us out on our website at lazarillo.app. If you want to try Lazarillo, you can download the Lazarillo app right now for free on Google Play and the App Store. You can also follow us on social media to stay up to date on all of our latest projects. We'll include links to all of these resources in the description. Stay tuned for more great interviews with accessibility advocates right here on the Lazarillo podcast. Until next time, stay safe and see ya.